What's up, everybody? It's been a while. Apologize about that, but it's been a little crazy with 2 kids going to college. But God is awesome. He is faithful, and His word is true. So just want to share a couple things from 1 Samuel 30. At this point, David and his army had left the Philistines, who they were traveling with, to go against Israel, and they were going back to their camp. When they got back there, their wives and children had been taken captive by the Amalekites. And what's interesting is David was distressed. He was so distressed, actually, that it said his sorrow was great, and his own men were talking about killing him because they're like, what happened to our wives? What happened to our kids? What happened to everything? But I love one part of the verse. It says, but David found strength in the Lord his God. And that's in verse 6 of 1 Samuel 30. How awesome is that? David found strength in the Lord his God. I just want to encourage you, if you're going through something crazy right now, to find strength in the Lord your God. If you don't know Him, you can find Him today. He's right there for the asking, and He's seeking you passionately. I would just challenge you, where do you find your strength? I mean, if you find your strength in acceptance, if you find your strength in things of this world, it's going to let you down. It's temporary, but God is eternal. Another question is, do you have people doubting you? Do you have people or situations that are bigger than you can handle? Be like David and find strength in the Lord your God. Second thing is in verse 8, it says David inquired of the Lord. A lot of times in my life as a guy, I've tried to do things in my own power and try and fix things and then end up falling on my knees before God, which I should have done in the first place. So that's just my challenge, is how many times do we rush or jump into a decision, don't even inquire of the Lord? In my own life this year, I'm trying to pursue God even in the smallest decisions, smallest purchases, smallest changes in our family's life. God, how can we honor you through these things? So I would just challenge us, let's inquire of the Lord about our future, about our relationships, about our decisions. And third and final thing is, some of the men didn't pursue into battle. It says they were too exhausted. So when David and his men found out what happened, they went and chased after the Amalekites. But when they got to a certain point, some of the men were like, we're too tired. And when the men that did fight, when they got their plunder and they got their wives and things back and everything, they didn't want to share it with the men who didn't go. And so many times we're like that. We're like, hey, these guys didn't deserve it. And even in Scripture, it says, there's going to be some who get saved at the end or on their deathbeds, and other Christians may be like, well, I served God faithfully for 50 years, but it's God's grace that saves each and every one of us. It doesn't matter whether you were a Christian for 10 minutes or 1,000 years, God's going to reward us. But David was such a great king. He said, no, they're going to get some of the plunder back. He didn't do like a lot of leaders would have done, said, hey, you didn't fight, you don't get the rewards. It says that even David shared with the elders and others that they had come across in their journeys. So David spread the wealth, gave the love, and didn't keep it to himself in the small group. So 3 quick things for us to learn. David found strength in the Lord his God. Let's do the same. Number 2, he inquired of the Lord. Let's make sure we do the same thing in our decisions. Let's inquire of the Lord and not seek our own wisdom. And then thirdly, I would just say be generous and merciful. We are a blessing. We've been blessed, to be a blessing to others. So let's do the same. God bless.